Hello, Emilia. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
So this is the third star. The first two was for my fault, and yeah, this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
About we are really looking forward having this discussion about the logistics in the farmer to consumer.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
are quite new logistics. By the way, maybe they are not so new. Maybe they exist a long time ago when the farmers were used to sell directly to end consumers.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
during the past 50 to 60 years, the society has been get used to buy their things in a supermarket and not directly from the farmers. No?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and now we are here to change the thing again and come back to the old activity of buying directly from the farmers.
Yeah. It's always interesting when we use kind of old techniques with innovation for the future, right? But I think it's really interesting because crowd farming supply chain going straight from the farmer to the consumer is actually easier in some aspects. Especially for the consumer, it means that they kind of have a lot more knowledge and a lot more human interaction with the people that grow their food, which at the end of the day is super important to kind of know where and who is growing your food. I love organizing it. I love being in touch with all the farmers, seeing how they run their farms and seeing how they need to organize themselves and kind of fit the supply chain and the shipments around that as well.
Yeah. So this was going to be my question, like introduction of Emilia. Why I am here sitting with Emilia and talking about Emilia. But please start telling about yourself. What are you doing in crowd farming?
Yeah, so, well, right now I'm doing the French market and a little bit of the Italian market logistics system. So basically, it starts from before the first shipment with the new farmer.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of go through the first steps with them. So labeling, packaging, making sure everything is ready for the first shipment. And then we kind of make sure that they feel valued and that we can really fit their needs into how we organize the shipments. So also taking care of, for example, if there are various farms in the same area, to make sure, you know, we're shipping them all together to kind of be as efficient as possible, and making sure that the shipments are, you know, the trucks are as full as possible, and just making everything as sustainable as possible as well. And so I basically do a little bit of that, but again, with a lot of help from the rest of the team who do a lot of it as well. And yeah, I think that's the...
Okay, let's go step by step. So the first thing, whenever a farmer enters the platform, so most of the farmers haven't been selling directly to end consumers in their lives. Probably most of them, or the ones that you are talking, they probably they have been selling through intermediaries.
Yeah.
So they are not usually taking care of the picking process, or even they are not packaging specialists, no?
Yeah.
So tell me the first step, the first contact, how it is with them.
So I think the first steps, first of all, for the farmer is changing a few things to kind of fit our requirements as well, because obviously we have quite high, you know, environmental demands in the sense that the packaging is always as sustainable as possible, so they've got to adapt to that. And then in terms of printing the labels, we kind of go through format.
Are we helping with the packaging?
Yeah, absolutely. We provide it. And then, and I think it's really cool to see how also we keep it growing. So we make sure that the boxes are better and better each time. So we do lots of test runs and kind of try new things, try more sustainable methods, and kind of evolve as we go along with the farmer, depending on their product, depending on, you know, where they're shipping to and stuff.
I love that from crowd farming, because even that we consider ourselves like a technological company. There is a lot of roles inside the company that are not like deep tech, no? That are like packaging specialists.
Yeah, no? Absolutely. And that's what I always say that I love about crowd farming as well, because it's like a technological, innovative company, but at the core it's basically a human connection that we're creating between the consumer and the farmer. And so it's like how to use technology to actually come back to those human connections as well. So that's really
great.
Cool.
It's great. So tell me, what have you learned in the past year about logistics and about farming?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I think I definitely have learned so much. Everything to do with logistics I've learned here. So that's been a really fun journey for me. And also just kind of understanding how we can implement you know, sustainable practices in the supply chain, so in the logistics, kind of keeping in mind always those three like pillars of sustainability in everything that we do. So kind of keeping an economic point of view in the sense that the farmer is obviously gonna you know or decides his prices first of all, and then also knows what he's selling before he's harvesting, so that kind of gives them that control over over their financial stuff.
Stability. They have more prediction of their incomes because they know the price that they will receive from the harvest. No.
Exactly, and then they can reinvest into also more, organic practices or other things they want to invest in, and then also keeping in mind that social impact. So, for example, just in the supply chain, making sure that we're partnering with companies that also share our values. I saw that you had a chat with
it is easy to find like logistic providers that we share the same vision.
I wouldn't say easy.
Okay.
I think that it really depends where you're working with. There are some, but it's also an industry that's like ever changing and moving towards new practices as well.
Yeah.
They're very ambitious. So, for example, ideally it would be all electric vehicles, but obviously that's not really possible right now. But I know, for example, that Trucks is a really interesting company that we're working with to kind of help, and we share a lot of values in that sense in terms of like environment and sustainability and stuff. So that's quite cool.
Explain me what this company is doing, like Trucksters. What makes them so special?
Well, I think they're really thinking about the social aspect, so the driver's kind of lifestyle. So they're doing relay shipments. So instead of doing, a 4-day trip from Valencia to Berlin, the one driver will be doing a much shorter route and will be able to come home every night, and that's always nicer. And I know they're also implementing electric vehicles when and where they can.
Yeah, thanks to this relay that, they are not the ones that invented relay, but they are the ones that are digitalizing and making the relay happen now in the current world. And they have found that the relay is also the best value proposition for taking the electric vans, because the problem of the electric trucks is that with the electric engines they cannot travel long distance. No?
Yeah, they have short
like
charge,
2,000 or so. So thanks to these relays, every 300 they can change the track, and the one that has been driving the last 300 kilometers stays charging, and the one that was waiting there continue.
Picks up.
So the load don't stop, and you make the whole route with electric.
That's
trucks.
Brilliant. I mean, it's an amazing system, and I think it will change how we think about shipments and supply chain in general. It will change kind of how we approach it.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And and I think the last bit as well is just in terms of sustainability as well. That's something that we keep in mind from the beginning to the end. So partnering with companies that share our values, and also all of our farmers share our values as well. So there's kind of this shared mentality of avoiding waste as much as possible. So that comes from the production side. So knowing how much you need to harvest means that there's no food waste in that sense, and having organized efficient shipments mean there's no food waste in transport. So that's a really cool part of crop farming that I like as well.
It is cool, definitely. And but it's cool. It's hard to teach farmers how to do it, because not all the farmers have experience in like the fulfillment process, no? Some of them maybe it's the first time that they have to prepare orders, so sometimes they don't have the packaging on time, or maybe the printer of the label with the address is not. So tell me some anecdotes that we have been living.
Well, there are always these these external factors that come in play, and I think that's kind of what keeps it interesting, what keeps it fun, because we're always we have this obstacle that we need to find a solution for. So that's definitely happens loads of times, that the printers aren't working properly, or the boxes have been exposed to water or moisture, so they're not solid anymore.
Because the places where farmers are preparing the orders, they are not like huge logistic centers or warehouse that we also work with, but we don't have anything against this logistic warehouse if they are managed efficiently. But what is cool for crowd farming is that there are still small farmers preparing their own orders in their farms.
Absolutely.
I started like this, by the way, 12 years ago with my brother. It was like a small room, and we were like preparing orders, and it is really, really interesting, and to have the opportunity of preparing the order that an end consumer, a family in Europe will receive, gives you a lot of motivation as a farmer.
No? And I talk about that with the farmers that I kind of work with. In France, it's mainly really small farmers, or relatively small farmers, because we don't have that big scale. and it's always so nice to kind of have that relationship with them, and they work on really small scales, and they love knowing more about who's buying their products. Obviously it tends to be like cheese or kind of products that take a lot more time to prepare as well, so they put a lot of love into it. A lot of work goes into preparing these cheeses over months and months, so when they send it, it's always an event, you know, which is nice.
Good. So it was really nice to hear your story and your role and what are we doing in crowd farming in logistics, helping the farmer with a new activity for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you very much for your support.
Well, thank you for having me.
And thank you for accepting this invitation for these Farmeneur Talks.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.